This is even better than we thought for Patrik Laine, as we're going to revisit one quote he said yesterday that is quite rare in the best of ways, plus some footage of him training with an NFL team this offseason to get back into game shape, all of that, plus a bit of an unfortunate update on Juraj Slafkovsky and a top goalie prospect in Nashville that we've talked about a lot. Yaroslav Askarov has demanded a trade, and a lot of people are saying, even with the Laine trade, Montreal should be knocking on the door. We're going to discuss all of that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. But before we get into the video, I ask you guys for something simple, just to leave a like. We hit over 1,000 likes on yesterday's live stream. If we can hit 800 on this video, it'd be really appreciated. So hit that like down below if you want to support the channel. Jesse, we're going to start with Askarov. And he wants out. Now, we were going to talk about this yesterday, but, some other more pressing news came out, such as Michael Hage picking his jersey number. I can't think of anything else. But Yaroslav Askarov, he's a guy we've talked about a lot, and as Kevin Weeks said yesterday in this phenomenal photo I have of him, I'm told top goalie prospect Askarov has informed the Predators that he will not report to their AHL team and has requested a trade. Now, when it comes to Askarov, Jesse, he has some of the highest goaltending pedigree in the entire NHL, especially in terms of prospects. Still often ranked the #1 goalie prospect in the whole league. Even with this Laine trade having gone down, do you see this as something that Montreal could still be, kicking tires on? And I know we got Monty and Primeau for now, and I know we got Fowler in the system, but this is a guy with some big pedigree.
He does for sure, and that's why it's interesting. You never want to underestimate Kent Hughes, but I think he's going to chill on this one. He realizes that Monty and Primeau, that they're not the problem with this team. It's really the goal scoring that he addressed yesterday. That's where we need to be putting our focus, right? And as well, like for the future, it's like, I feel like with Fowler coming up, if this guy wasn't such a stud, this would be really tempting, right? But when you have a player like Fowler coming up, Primeau, obviously Montembeault doing a great job. In the meantime, I think you want to just kind of be patient there. I know we're seeing some kind of mock trades and kind of some righty, like we saw one mock trade of like Mailloux going in a trade as well as Cayden Primeau, right? And that's pretty heavy ask, I would say, because it's like with Mailloux, I think we need to keep our right-handed defenseman. We got Reinbacher, we got Mailloux, we got Barron, but, we don't have that many right-handed guys still all the same. So for me, like holding on, maybe if it was like a Barron, maybe a Primeau, I think that maybe that might make this trade a little bit more doable. But I don't know, just our right-handed defensemen, our top prospects right now, I kind of want to hold on to them.
Yeah, that's the thing. The #1 guy being tossed around in the talks is Mailloux. I think the big thing now, though, is now that Askarov has demanded a trade, naturally his value has gone down a bit. So it depends. But Montreal, I think, is not at the top of the list of teams who are willing to pay the most for Askarov. You have a team like Philadelphia, Jesse, who could really, really use a guy like Askarov. I mean, Ersson was playing a lot at the end of last season. There's a lot of other teams out there who could be a good fit. San Jose has been potentially looking into that as well. We've heard Carolina, I think, as well. There's a lot of guys looking into it. While Montreal, I think it's possible. Montreal has some of the assets to do it. I don't see them being at the top of this list, but let us know down below. If the price is right, would you still go for Askarov, even if it means that we have Fowler, we have Monty in the system? Because I guess his pedigree, it is a bit hard to deny. But we're going to move on to a guy whose pedigree we are seeing flourish before our eyes, and it is Slafzilla. It's a bit of a sad update as he's not going to the Olympic qualifiers again. This came out yesterday. Sorry about the Laine news. Couldn't get to everything, but our boy got to play the animation. Slafzilla, Jesse, he's not going to the Olympic qualifiers. Now, Slovakia does have a fairly easy group. They have, I believe it's, I forget the whole group, but it's Austria, I think it's Hungary, and I think there's one other team, I'm not sure, but basically Slovakia is the favorite to win the group, probably even with their B team. But according to Tomáš Prokop, who does a lot of reporting for, Central Europe, Slovakia, Czechia, stuff like that, Juraj Slafkovsky and Erik Černak were not released to the Slovak national team by their respective NHL teams for the Olympic qualifiers in Bratislava, which, if you didn't know, is the capital of Slovakia. How you feeling about this, Jesse? Because to me, it's like, I get it. He just signed a huge extension. You want him to focus on this upcoming season. The logic is probably that Slovakia is going to make the Olympics anyway, though you never know. Team Austria, while they don't have their NHL guys, some of their NHL guys like Marco Rossi, they do have David Reinbacher, who's playing for their team trying to get the win. I think it's okay. We just got to hope that Slovakia manages to win this tournament, even though they're favorites, because I think if they don't, we might be revisiting this with a bit of concern.
We got this, right? Yeah. We love our Slovak fans. We support them in these international tournaments now that Slav is there. But I think this is the right decision, and this was made by Kent Hughes, that Juraj Slafkovsky needs to concentrate on the NHL. He needs to focus on becoming one of the best power forwards in the league. Now, he had an amazing year last year, 20 goals, 30 assists, but has he cemented himself as one of the best power forwards yet? No. That's why the Habs don't want to take any sort of chance of any sort of injuries to really start this season off strong, right? We're bringing in some additions, some new players. We're seeing that increased development, right? So I think this is just kind of the Habs being a little bit precautious in this situation, just to allow them the best chances for success going into the season. That being said, we know that Slav's a total stud when it comes to international hockey. He always has, even just earlier this summer, right? Scoring 8 points in 8 games, representing Slovakia earlier. So, of course, I think it's tough for him because he loves to represent his country, but he kind of knows where his focus needs to be at right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he's totally okay with that. I think he does want to win for Montreal. Now, we saw, though, that passion he had at those World Hockey Championships with Slovakia. This is definitely something he wants to play in. You have to imagine. Now, I mean, this is, I guess, a bit of speculation, but still, we know when the Olympics come around, Jesse, we know Slovakia, they're going to come out on top in this tournament. They're going to win for their boys, Cernak and Juraj Slafkovsky. There's some interesting stuff going on around the team, and Miroslav Shatan. Not going to get into that too much, but I think some Slovakian fans might know there's a bit of some stuff going on. But at the same time, Juraj, going to prep him for the Olympics because he's going to need to get better this offseason for next season, just so he is primed and ready for when the NHL players head back in 2026. So let us know down below, especially if you're a Slovakian fan, what are your thoughts on Juraj Slafkovsky not being allowed to go? We'd love to hear from you. Final thing, time to transition from Slovakia to Finland. And Jesse, it just gets better every single second. Every single second of existence since Patrik Laine has joined the Montreal Canadiens has just been a bit better, It's this dreaming of the Habs power play. Maybe we do these videos too often and it's invading my headspace, but no, I think we do it just enough. But Patrik Laine, Jesse, he has been so loving towards Montreal and seemingly so passionate. And there was a quote from Frank Saravalli today that I wanted to bring up. He said, one of the things I found fascinating about Laine's conversation with the media was that he pointed out that Martin St. Louis, the coach of the Habs, was a big selling point for him. It's just not often that you hear that. And that's very true. When was the last time you heard a player say, citing one of their main reasons for going to a team as being the head coach? And Jesse, this is something now that we're seeing happen so frequently for Montreal, whether it's the players on the team, people coming in praising Martin St. Louis. And for me, this number one thing, we'll get into some other stuff about Laine in a minute, but I just wanted to focus on this because this is a rarity in the NHL, and I think this is really turning the corner towards players wanting to come to Montreal in free agency or in trades a lot more.
Yeah, he likes the style of hockey that we play. And Marty, he helped resurrect Kirby Dach's career not very long ago, kind of helped bringing his love for the game back again, admittedly by Kirby, right? So he's looking to do the same thing with Laine, who's probably going to be on the same line with them. So I was just really impressed just as a whole with everything that Laine had to say in that interview yesterday. He came across as really grounded, I would say, first and foremost, but also had that confidence there. Laine's problem has never been him doubting himself as a hockey player. Believe me on that. This guy has always known that he can play, and I think he's going to do really well in Montreal. When you know what you need to work on, and when you're really that grounded and have that much skill, for me, I see a very good combination here.
I think it's perfect, right? Marty's way to coach you. That's a great point you brought up about that whole Kirby Dach thing. Kirby said, Marty helped me love the game again. And we don't know what went down in Columbus. There have been some rumors coming out today, positive, negative, all over the place, Jesse. But I think that could be a great thing for Patrik Laine. But moving on from that, too, we got some other stuff. He's going to be wearing number 92. He's going to take over the legacy of Jonathan Drouin and some other players in Habs history. His 29's up in the rafters for Ken Dryden.
Way better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, but hey, he's got 2 years. I think 92 is a cool number. I always love to see players, in the numbers 90, right? It's pretty cool. I love Monahan wearing that 91. I mean, there's a lot of other guys too. But not only that, I wanted to bring up this tweet that was actually from a couple weeks ago, but it was being talked about a lot today from Top Canadiens, and you can see the new profile picture there. Laine has been in the lab working his butt off for a while now with a couple of NFL players. They were Cleveland Browns players, I believe, of course, being in Ohio. He's so serious and dedicated. He's going to make people remember who he is. This was 12 days ago. This was by Top Canadiens on Twitter, and this was well before the trade. And Montreal was in some rumors at that point, but these videos, Jesse, I'll link this tweet down below as well, I believe. But yeah, Patrik Laine has been working like crazy. We even heard him in that interview saying, yeah, he had a shoulder procedure, but he's like, I'm feeling great. I'm in a fantastic spot physically. I'm in a fantastic spot mentally. I can still rip the puck. I don't know. Maybe we're getting too ahead of ourselves, but I don't even think we are. I think there's a reason that every Habs fan feels bought in, especially after that interview yesterday. I feel like every single thing he said was like a little piece of gold.
Yeah, putting in the work both on and off the ice. Obviously we see him training, doing a lot of dynamic movements, which is, obviously so great for him. But also what's so interesting to notice is that just he's looking at things a lot more positively now. We know we're all about that here at Habs Digest, and that's going to really be his key for success because we know the talent's there. It's just bringing that mindset into it as well, right? So his shoulders healing, he's feeling positive. When asked about it, he says he's absolutely ripping the puck. So no worries there, unquote, right? So just absolutely amazing to hear all of that. What was also of note from this interview is that Patrik Laine said that he wants to be as good as Slafkovsky was
yes.
during his time with the Montreal Canadiens. Talk about setting the bar high, right? But this is another fellow Finn. We know hockey is huge in Finland. Slafkovsky is one of the hockey idols of this country, right? He was asked, what are one of the things about the culture of the Habs that you like the most? Obviously, playing at the Bell Center, Slafkovsky already kind of having a connection to this team, right? And knowing what Koivu's brought. And again, not shying away. He says, I want to be as good as Koivu. We know how big Koivu was for this franchise. He was huge, right? Larger than life. The fact that Laine kind of wants to step into that type of role as well and understands how important it is to represent Finland well here, I think is just absolutely amazing.
And you know what? A thought that crossed my mind. Not only will he maybe get to play with Armia, not only will his name go up there, hopefully if he plays very well, you put his name up like, wow, he was another good Finn for the Habs, just like Koivu. If Laine sticks around long term, Jesse, he might have a chance to play with another Koivu on the Montreal Canadiens. I'm just saying, it's not out of the realm of possibility for Atos Koivu and Patrik Laine to one day share the ice together, but this is just so amazing. That's some long term in the future, but for right now, we are thrilled about Patrik Laine. Let us know your thoughts down below on his training and this whole Marty St. Louis thing, because I think that's going to fly almost under the radar for a lot of other teams as to how important that is for players coming to Montreal in the future. That'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like I asked you at the start. If you haven't done it yet, we'd really appreciate it. And I want to thank you guys for the crazy support over the last few weeks. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.